Hi, welcome to the live stream. Okay, today I'm going to show you a little demo on how to use the maps feature in AppHive because the maps feature is the most requested one. To everyone who doesn't watch any of my live streams, my name is Jorge Rangel. These live streams are a series of tutorials on how to use AppHive. In this one, I'm going to start showing you the previewer. The previewer is the application that AppHive has, so you can preview your application. That's in the name, right? So I'm going to show you my screen. Give me a moment, please. I'm going to set it up. Okay, give me a moment because I can share with you the screen of my iPad. In my iPad, I have the previewer installed, and the previewer is the one that we are going to be running. Okay, so in order to start, give me a moment. New movie recording. I am setting up my iPad so I can show you my screen. Give me a moment. Okay. Okay. My computer should connect my iPad. Something is not working. I don't know what it is. Okay. There you go. Okay. I'm going to share my screen. There you go. Okay, we are seeing two screens. The first one is my editor, my AppHive editor in editor.apphive.io. And the second one is my iPad. I have my iPad right here. Yeah, I am just presenting the screen on Quick Start. So you can see everything, right? What I want to build right now is a demo of an application that uses maps and uses the API from Google to retrieve information about some locations and about some parts of the of a route, and we are going to show that in the map. Okay, so in order to start, let me delete everything else so we can start from scratch. There you go. Let me remove this one and this one as well. If I go right here, I can search my project. The one that I am using is base inside the demo applications. There you go. I can change the color here of the background like so, and you can see the change immediately in the screen. Okay. The next part that I'm going to do is I'm going to be adding a map, and I can change the size of the map in the screen, and I can see here the map in the application, right? And this map right here, I can set everything by calling functions, okay? For example, I can put here a button and put a button here and call it set location. There you go. And in this one, I can call a function to change the location of my map. How are you going to do that? I'm going to put a press right here, and let's put here first a function that is called debug log. And the debug log function, what it does is creates a log in my application, and I can see that log in my screen right here. I'm going to show you how right now. For example, here, hello world. Hello world, like so. And here I'm going to click on the button, sorry. But I don't see the hello world here. Why? Because it's a console command. So I have to open my console right here in my browser with F12, and I'm going to the section that is called logs. And you can see here, hello world. I can print it from here. Okay. The second part that I'm going to do, instead of putting a debug log directly, let's put an object build. The object build function is similar to what you do in JavaScript, which is create an object. I'm going to put here two properties. The first one is going to be the location, the latitude, sorry. Let's put any number for now. Let's add another entry. I'll put here longitude. And again, let's put some random number. Let's change the name of this function to location. There you go. And let's put after this function, sorry, another one. the book log function, and in this the book log function, let's print what the location function returns us. So let's try it out. Let's click on it 1, 2, 3 times, and if I return to here, you can see 3 logs in the order that they were saved, and here I can see the values that were returned from the object build. Okay, another way to do that, instead of using an object build, we can use a code compute. The code compute functions can be used to do something very similar to the object build function. The difference is that code compute can do a lot of arbitrary code, not only returning an object, but for now, let's use it to return an object. So we can type here return, open and close brackets, and inside the bracket, let's add the parameters, latitude. Let's put it a value here, and longitude. Let's put another value. Let's change the name again of this function to location. And here, instead of referencing the value from the function that we already deleted, that's why it appears in red. Let's add a new one, and the reference to this code compute, and let's run it. Click, click, click. And here you can see they should appear right here. And now you can see them. There are differences. The first difference is that in the object build function, I typed the number, and the number is returning as a string. You should take that into account. In the code compute function, is quite different. It's exactly the value that I type. In this case, those are numbers. So that is why I recommend you use code compute instead of object build. It is a little bit more clear what you are doing, and also the numbers are taken as numbers, and everything else you type here is exactly as you type it. You can return the value directly in this part of the editor. And now with that information, let us continue. Instead of putting the debug log function, let's add another function which is called modify control. The modify control function help us set values in our controls. Any part of our application that we can click on it and select it here in the editor is called a control. That is why this function is called modify control. When you modify some value inside a control, the control reflects that value in the interface. For example, if I change here the location to this one, and the element that I'm going to be changing is the map, and the property that I'm going to change is the region. So now when I go back here and I click on it, you can see the region that it puts on is not really valid because we put values that are not correct, right? The values that we put are here 1 and 234, which are not really a coordinate value, a coordinate correct value, right? So in order to have one value that is actually valid, let's put here read region. Okay, this function, this button right here is going to take the region value from the map and give it to us. So for example, if I press right here and put here a debug log, I'm going to be using debug log instead of alerts. If you have used apphive in the past, you will see that a lot of tutorials use alerts. I prefer the debug log because with the debug log, I can inspect the values that it is printed in my console right here instead of trying to read them in the application in my phone or in my iPad in this case. So here, let's print from the map the region value. If I go back here, I can move the map. The region value is updated each time I move the map around. And if I click on it, you can see right here that a value is printed. This is the value. I can copy now this one and put it here in my code compute that I created minutes ago. And I can copy the longitude as well. So now I have real values. If I return to my map and I move somewhere else and then press set location, you can see I can set the location to the place that I returned from my code compute. Okay, those are the basic two operations, a read and a write inside a control, in this case, the map. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to refine a little bit the interface so we can do a lot more with this. I'm going to add a container and I'm going to divide it in two, like so. The first part, which is right here, is going to be the part with the map, and the part on the right is going to be the part when I'm going to be putting the actions. So let's move the map to here, and let's change the values of the width and the height. 100 and 100, so it fills the container completely. Let's add a little bit more spacing between the container and the page. And inside this one right here, let's add these buttons. And these buttons, let's change the dimensions. So the width of the buttons is going to be 100%. Maybe 90% will be a little bit better. And here, again, 90%. Instead of putting set location, let's put set region. And here, read region is okay. And let's change the value of the font size so we can read the complete text on the button in one line. So let's change this one to 9, I guess. There you go. Now, if I return here, you can see I can set the region. I can read the region. Okay. Now, what happens when I want to save this region somewhere and then I want to read it, right? Because this value that I have in this button is it's constant. It doesn't. It is not a value that I can. How do you say it? That I can change. So what happened? Sorry, give me a moment. I press a button that I shouldn't have pressed. Give me a moment. I am entering again to my application. Sorry about that. There you go. Okay, so this region that I have here is a constant. I can change that. For example, what happens if I want a marker in a coordinate in the map? That's very common. For example, when I want to mark the point when a trip is going to start and another point where the trip is going to end, I need to put two markers, right? Let's try that out. So let's copy this button and change the name, set start. This is going to set the value of the start marker. And in order to do that, let's add here a modify control. And in this modify control, let's send the region that the map has right now. Remember, I am reading the region from the map. And after that, I am going to set a property in the same map. The property that I'm going to set is markers. And the ID of this marker in particular is going to be the start marker, right? Let's copy and paste this one and change the name. Instead of putting start, I'm double clicking on the button to change the text, by the way. Set end, like so. And here in markers, let's change the ID to end. Right? Let's try it out. Okay, set start, and let's move it again. Set end. There you go. You can see now that I have two markers that I can change the position on my map. Okay, and now I have the basics to show in the screen a route, right? I can show the start and the end of a trip in my map. And I am only reading the location by the coordinates, the latitude and longitude, right? But this is not exactly the interesting part. The interesting part is that I can plot in the map the locations, the route that a car may follow in this map. How I'm going to do that? To do that, I'm going to delete the ones from the first demo. In order to plot in this map the route for my trip, I need to use the Google API. So if I go here to Google Maps API routes, let's see. Platform documentation. Here is the documentation of the API, right? The route. Routes API is the next generation performance optimized version of the existing Directions API and Distance Matrix API. It helps you find the ideal route from A to C, calculates ETAs and distances from matrices on origin. Okay, it is very important for me to tell you that this API is it's a paying one. You have to pay to use it. So I'm going to show you how to set up a key here to use it. Here are the features. I'm going to be doing get started with Google Maps platform, try demo, routes API enhancements, make first route request. There you go. This one looks like a tutorial, right? You can get a route using the routes API by sending an HTTP post request to the compute routes methods or by calling the compute routes method. Okay, I have to use post instead of a get. That's very weird. The following example shows the URL for a REST request to the compute routes method. Okay, let's copy the URL. Here in AppHive, the good news is that we have a function to do this kind of stuff. So I'm going to copy the button and I change that and I'm going to put compute. Okay, this one is when I press it, is going to do the request to the Google API and retrieve to me the values that I need to plot the route in the map. So let's put here an HTTP request. Those are the good news. I can do the request directly from here. I can put here the URL and set the method to a post because the documentation told me. Okay, next let's put a debug log to log the catch part of the function HTTP request and do the same with the end. This one is going to be called when the request fails and this one when the request is successful. So let's try it out. There you go. Let's put an end, let's put a start, and let's put a compute. Let's see what happens. Okay. Here it is. The status is 403. 403, it is a rejection status in HTTP request. So it means my request was not accepted by the server. And the reason is something that I did wrong, not the server. The server is okay. So let's read further into this. Method doesn't allow unregistered colors. Okay. Maybe this is a good clue because it means I have to put an API key in this request. Please use API key or other form of API consumer identifier to call this API. So in order to do that, let's go to Cloud, Google Cloud, credentials. Here you go. Here is where I can create credentials to be used in my APIs. You have to check here if you have the user that you have an account on, and you have to also have a billing account in your projects. Here you can select the project from a list. Normally you will have 0 or 1 project depending on how many projects you manage in your Google account. I'm going to be using test AppHive because I have already set up a building process here. And if I go here to where it is, I have to search for Google Maps, right? Maps console, maps customization. Let's see here. Credentials, go out to clients, enable APIs and services. I don't know. I don't remember how to do that. So I'm just going to Google that. Google Cloud, create Maps API key. Okay, there you go. Go to Google Map Platforms credential page here. Let's close this one. And then on credentials page here, click create credentials. Okay. So let's search for it. No, credentials, like so. There you go. Select a project, test AppHive. Okay. API keys. Example autocomplete key. I'm going to remove this one. This one was from another tutorial. Delete API key. Okay, delete. It is prompting me to to confirm the deletion, because if this key happens to be used in production right now, all the applications that use this key will be failing, right? So now let's create a credentials API key. And let's wait for this one to finish. And here in the documentation, let's check where should I put my key, right? Origin, destination. Here in somewhere should be an example on how to put the key, because I created the key. This one is my key. So now let's search in my documentation the word key. Content type, application JSON, Google API key. Okay, it should be a header in my HTTP request. So how do I put headers in my request? The way that you should do that is, let's create another function like we did at the beginning of this tutorial, and let's put here the code compute function. Let's put it before the HTTP request, and let's change the name of this function to headers. And let's return an object. This object is going to be the headers for our HTTP request. So the first property that I'm going to be adding is this one. Now, there is something important. I am going to be using this key, and I'm going to delete this key after a while, after this tutorial is completed, because that is why I am showing you this key, because it's not going to exist by the time this video is completed. But the problem is that I shouldn't put this key here in my client. This key should be on an environment variable in our server. We are going to do that, but for now, let's put it here so we can check if it works or not. Now we have the headers. Now let's go back to our HTTP request function, and inside of here, let's reference the headers by doing this. Okay, let's try it out again. There you go. Let's click on compute. Let's see what happens. Here is our log, and our log is still a 403. And the error is routes API has not been used in this project. Okay, it takes the key. That's good news, right? But there is still a problem, and the problem is right here. Let's copy this text. Let's remove this one and put here. Okay. Enable it by visiting. Okay, the API that we are going to be using is not enabled, in fact, in this project, so we need to enable it. So let's copy this URL and go right here. Okay, routes API, let's enable it. It is going to take a while to be available for us. Okay, it is already enabled. Let's click on it again. And let's wait here. Let's remove this message, it's not needed anymore. And let's print this one. It's now a 400 error. Which one is the error right now? Field mask is a required parameter. Okay, it takes now our key and it's accepting our request. The problem now is that we do not put a correct field inside this request. So the field in question is field mask. How to provide it? As an example, you can set the header Google field masks to value routes, distance, meters. Let's see in the documentation what this field does, right? Okay. Here, a response field mask in the X Google field mask header that specifies to return the following fields in the response. Okay, so this header right here tells Google server what we want in return for the call to the API. So in this case, routes.duration, route distance in meters, routes polyline, encoded polyline. Okay, so let's try it out. Let's first put only routes duration, right? This is a header, so we need to put it here in our code compute function. And after the key, let's add this header right here. And in this header, let's put the value routes duration, right? There you go. Let's try it out. Click on this button. And here we can see another log. Let's see what this log has. It's still a 400 error. That's expected because we didn't put everything that we should. The origin and destination must be set. Okay, that's natural because we didn't put that values. Okay, the origin should be in this form inside the data part of the request. So we need another code compute. Let's copy this one. Oh, sorry, I deleted it. Let's return with this one. Instead of copying it, let's add it. Let's collapse the HTTP request and put the code compute before the HTTP request and call it data. There you go. Let's return an empty object. But instead of an empty object, let's put the origin, like this one. And let's put the destination. Yeah. We didn't put their values because I want to see what the API returns to us. So let's put the data in our HTTP request here. Okay, let's try it out. Click on it. Let's return to here. And let's see what happens. Again, a 400 error, that's expected. Origin and destination must be set. It's the same error. Okay, it's acceptable because we didn't put anything in these values. So let's add the origin values. Here in the code compute data, let's put here location. And the location is going to be an object like so. Latitude and longitude. And the latitude is going to be this one. Let's copy it like so. And let's put the longitude as well. I'm going to try only with the origin to see what happens, right? There you go. Let's check it out. Click on compute, return here. Let's check my data. Still with 400. Origin and destination. Okay, it shows me exactly the same. Let's copy exactly the same information from the origin to the destination to see what Google returns. So let's click on it and let's check out the data. Okay, 200, that's good news. It means the server returns are successful. 0 seconds. Okay, that makes sense, right? Because we are actually getting only the same location. It shouldn't have anything else. But let's add another value. For example, here, distance meters. I think in order for us to have both of these, we have to separate them by commas, like so. Let's check it out. Now, if I press compute there and wait for the response right here, I can see it's that 200. And here you go. There are a lot of things right here. Okay, no, I didn't put it right. Routes, okay, and the first route, it has only the duration, and the duration is 0 seconds, okay, and there is no distance in meters. I believe it doesn't have a distance because it didn't really travel anything. It just put the same point. So let's change these points for the ones that I set in the start and the end part, right? In order to do that, I have to use an object build. In this case, I have to use an object build because I'm going to be passing two values to the code compute function, and the two values that I'm going to be passing are the origin, and the origin is going to be read from the map. How do you put it? The markers, and the property of the marker is the marker ID that I'm going to be using is the start, right? And let's add another property, and this property is going to be called destination. I think is the correct one. Destination, that's right. Let's put here destination and reference again the map. The property is going to be markers, and the ID of the markers, or the marker, sorry, it's going to be the end, right? Let's check if the ID matches. Okay, that's correct. And now I have an object with locations to route. There you go. Now let's add here at the book log that prints me the locations, so I have an idea on how they look, right? The book log, and put here the locations on route, and let's try it out. Let's click on it here. Okay, this one is empty. That's expected because I didn't set the start and the finish. Let's set the start and let's set the finish one, and let's click on compute. And here you can see it has a destination and the start. Okay, why? Why is it returning me like that? Destination, but origin. Oh, okay. It's because it is giving me all these paths right here from the start and from the end, but it's giving me them in the destination part, not in one, because it should have an origin, right? So let's try it again. Okay, it's giving me an end and start inside a destination. I don't know why. Let's remove the origin and let's put only the destination to see what happens. Here, let's start here, let's end here, and let's compute. There you go. I still have a destination and I have here an end and a start. I don't know why. Maybe I should, instead of putting these locations on road, let's print all the object from the map, all the markers, right? There you go. Let's remove this object build and let's check out all the markers. Click on the start, click on the end, and click on compute. And here, there you go. We have an start and an end marker. And we only need the latitude and longitude for each one of them. So here in the data, in the code compute data, let's put the header before the HTTP request. There you go. Here in the data, we need to put here the latitude and the longitude from the origin. So let's pass here the values from the maps regions. There you go. And here, instead of putting this, let's add args. Args is the name of the arguments in the code compute part. Let's put dot here and let's put start dot latitude, like so. And let's copy this part here and put it below. And let's put here the longitude. Okay, let's copy all this object completed. Let's put it right here. And let's change start for the word end. And like this, and then like this. There you go. Now, let's try it out. Let's set the start, let's set the end, and let's compute. Let's check it out. We have a start, an end, and a data. The data is 403. I don't know why. Method doesn't allow register colors, but I already put my headers, right? Here are my headers, and my headers are completed. And here is my function. Okay, let's remove this debug log, and let's try again. Click on this one, click on this one, and click on compute. Let's check it out. It should return a value, right? Because I didn't put here these ones. So it should return a compute from here. Why is it returning anything? I don't know why. Let's add here these headers. Let's remove this routes part and only put the routes duration, like in the start. Let's refresh. So I make sure everything is okay. Let's put the start, let's put the end, and let's click compute. And here should be a log for that. Let's refresh it. Maybe it doesn't get the real-time compute part, right? Okay, it doesn't print me anything. I don't know why. Why is that happening? Okay, let's go right here. And instead of putting here the values, let's put catch and then. So I make sure it is printing anything, right? There you go. Let's go here. The start, the end, and compute. It's not printing anything. Why? It should, right? Because I put something. Okay, let's print the code compute. Maybe I did a mistake here in the syntax of this part, and that is why this is not working. Okay, this code compute will have the data. Let's try it out. Okay, it's not printing anything right here. I don't know why. Let's remove these ones. 2 and 3. And let's remove this one. 2. Let's try it out like that. The start, the end, and compute. Okay. Why? It should return here something, right? It's not returning anything. I don't know why. Did I remove the book log? Yeah, I removed it, right? Why? Why did I remove it? I don't know. Let's put it here, data. And here, instead of this one, let's remove this one. And here we have data and headers. Okay, let's try it out. Start, end, and compute. What happened? Why is not showing me anything? I don't know why, because I did put these ones, right? Okay, let's copy this one. I'm going to save it in my code right here. And let's return a 2, like so. Let's go. Set this one, and code compute. There you go. I have a 2. Okay, the problem is this part of the code, right? An origin, location, latitude, longitude. Let's put here a 45, and let's check it out. Okay, yeah, the problem is the access to the values from the args. I don't know why. Args. Let's check it out like that. Set these ones, and compute. Okay. Origin, location, latitude, and longitude. Okay, destination. Why is not? Oh, okay, yeah, there you go. There is args, region. Why is only giving me one region? It should give me both. Region. Oh, I put region here and it's marker. Sorry about that. That was the problem. Start, latitude. It should give me errors, right? I have to improve that one because it should give me the errors of that. Okay, there you go. Let's check it out. Compute. Okay, it is working right now. There you go. The origin, latitude, and longitude, and the destination should be exactly the same, only changing for end values. Like that, and like that. Okay, let's check it out. I'm setting one and the other, and let's click compute. There you go. I have here, and it is returning the then part. So let's remove this debug log. Let's go back to the HTTP request. And here in the catch, let's return the HTTP request values and do the same with the then. Okay. There you go. Let's try it out again. Click, and compute. There you go. The data is right here. It's at 200. That's good news. And instead, we have a route that says it will take us 2,857 seconds to go there. So now let's readd the part that we want to return. For example, this one, which is the distance in meters. Let's go to the headers, and in the headers, let's put a comma and the distance in meters. After that, let's set this one, and the compute. And here we can see that we can show the data right here. And we have the distance in meters, which are 12 kilometers. And the duration is a little bit shorter than the previous one. But I want the actual route because I want to plot the route in my map, right? So in order to do that, let's add a route polyline. Here, this property, again a comma, and this property right here. Routes polyline, encoded polyline. I don't remember why it is encoded. I think it is encoded as a base 64 value. I don't know. Let's try it out. Start, end, and compute. There you go. Let's check it out. Here is the polyline, encoded polyline. Okay. It is encoded, so we need to figure it out how to decode it, right? Response body, encoded polyline. Okay. Let's see. To decode the polyline, return it in the response and see the roadmap. Use the decode utility, interactive polyline encoded utility. Okay. Polylines in Google are formed as a set of latitude-longitude pairs. In addition, for each vertex in an encoded polyline, you can specify a level indicating that the location should appear on that level at and any level higher. Okay, if a location does not. You can use this interactive utility to compute the encoded of a polyline. Okay, that's part of to encode, right? But how do I decode it? The special characters in the encode. For example, if I take this line right here, that is what I am understanding about this. If I put this line here in the documentation, like so, and remove these parts from the polyline, like that. Where is my polyline? I don't know how to do that. Yes, the code Google Maps polyline. Let's check it out. The code in Google Maps API then encoded polyline in JavaScript. Supports to encode to and encode from Google Maps polyline encoding. Okay, there is encoding coordinates, all polyline. No, I don't want to use a library, right? Because I want to do that with only JavaScript. But it looks like I won't be able to do that without a library. Yeah, because here it is the library, right? Let's check it out. We need a way to decode polylines. That's for sure. Let's go here. Macbox polyline. There is no library with that name. Okay. JS, the code map polyline without library. Okay, map. Again, I don't want to decode the polyline with a library. So it looks like we are going to leave this tutorial right here in this part because we get the polyline, we get that as an encoded one. So we need a way to decode this polyline, and we don't have it yet in AppHive, and we should have it because it's going to be a very important part of our application. So in the next one, I hope we have already put the function to decode the polylines in AppHive, so you can use it in all your applications, because with that, I can show you the route from one point to the other in the map, right? And it's going to be shown right there. And we can also show you how it's going to be built in Google. So for now, let's leave it on that. And in the next one, I hope we have the function to decode the polyline, and I can show you how to decode it, right? So thank you for watching, and I see you on the next one. Bye-bye.